Hey, how you doing? So, I don't make pedal videos, generally speaking, and that is for the simple reason that I think pedal videos are boring to make and boring to watch. The only thing conceivably worse than being waterboarded to me is being made to watch JHS videos in an infinite loop. And that's not because of the guy, because he seems lovely and I'd love to meet him and chat, it's because the topic of pedals is the most boring thing imaginable to me. And I say that as somebody who loves guitar pedals. I have probably 40 or 50 of them at this point, but I don't like talking about them. I think that's incredibly boring. I like stomping on them and trying them out. But that applies to effects pedals. I've turned down probably 15 to 20 effects pedal demos or reviews at this point because I just think that's incredibly boring. But what about pedals that aren't technically effects that mess with your guitar signal? What about pedals that allow you to have a jam session with yourself? This here is the Flammer, or this is the empty box, of the Flammer FF01 looper, and this is the empty box of the Flammer FF02 drummer pedal. And the actual boys I have right here. Now the reason I agreed to this video after Flammer emailed me is twofold. A, because I'm opportunistic and I think both of these things are something that I would like to own, and B, because I feel like there is something to talk about here as opposed to reviewing a Tube Screamer. So before I get into the actual features and demos, let's quickly go over just the physical aspect of these pedals. Something that surprised me after unboxing these, or actually while unboxing because I could feel the weight of the box, was the fact that these are both plastic. Judging by the images that I was sent while this video was being pitched to me, I kind of assumed that they would be metal enclosures, but it's whatever. Because plastic doesn't necessarily equal plastic. Let me just grab two pedals on opposite ends of the physical durability spectrum real quick. This here is the Solar Guitars Chug Tuner Plus, and it is an absolute brick of fucking steel. I'm not actually sure if that top bit of it is steel or if that's aluminium, but it's made entirely of metal, it's heavy, and it has sharp jagged corners. And this here is the Behringer NR300 noise gate, the lowest of the low when it comes to pedal build quality. This is of impeccably low quality, and famously so. If I chucked this at the ground right now, and my floors aren't even hard wood, it would shatter into a million pieces. If I threw this at the ground right now with moderate force, it would break the ground. And while on the build quality spectrum, these Flammer pedals are meaningfully closer to the Behringer than to the Solar, this is not the same kind of shitty junk plastic. And secondly, we have the foot switches. And again, I'm gonna go grab two pedals from my collection, one with the worst conceivable switches, and one with the best. On one hand, we have this Crazy Tube Circuits Sidekick Junior with the most buttery smooth foot switches you have ever heard. And on the other, we have, once again, the Solar Chug Tuner Plus, with the crunchiest foot switches that I have ever used. And the Flammer foot switches in this case are significantly closer to the buttery smoothness of the Crazy Tube Circuits pedal. That is beautiful and I love it. Now, the reason I went into this before any of the actual technical specs and sounds is simply for the reason that build quality when it comes to pedals is incredibly important, because you're supposed to stomp on them with your feet. So as far as plastic pedals go, I rate this incredibly high, but at the same time, I'm not sure why they're plastic, because even this $10 fake AliExpress Tube Screamer from my $10 AliExpress pedals video is made with a metal enclosure. It's not the best one in the world, but it is metal and therefore just innately more durable than this. So let's start with the FF01 looper. Pretty much just a basic looper pedal, just at a much more friendly price point than a lot of others on the market. And feature-wise, it can hold a candle to most of them, unless you go up into the like really fancy high-end shit. It has 40 looper saving slots that you can fill with 4 minutes of recording each, so a total of 160 minutes of looper noodling recordings, 44 kilohertz 16-bit recording, and once you've spent 35 seconds reading the manual, you will have memorized all of the controls. You hit one of the switches to start recording, and then if you want to immediately start overdubbing once that recording is done, you hit this switch, and you hit the one on the right to stop recording and then not start overdubbing, so you can just freely play without also recording that bit. It's got this LED bar to tell you how far along in your recording you are, how far along in the playback you are, how high the volume is when you adjust it with the volume knob. It's just kind of a nice thing to have overall. And then if you want to export or delete your recordings, you can connect it to your computer via USB-C. And as you'll notice, it also has a headphone output, meaning technically you can also plug headphones into it if you have something like a preamp and IR pedal configuration so that you have like a little fly rig and you have the looper and then you can, listen to it with headphones. Good feature. The drummer is, to me, the slightly less convincing one of the two pedals. It is okay, but I probably wouldn't buy it. It's got over 120 different pre-programmed pre-programmed drum grooves for a bunch of different genres: jazz, fusion, pop, rock, metal, reggae. But while it's cheaper than its competitors as well, it is cheaper for a reason, because it just doesn't have some of the features that its competitors like the Moore's Stereo Drummer X2 have. You can't hook this up to your computer and mess with the drum grooves, put them in a certain order and whatever yourself, and it doesn't have a MIDI output, granted neither does the Moore one that I just mentioned, and that means two things. A, you couldn't hook it up to like a MIDI drum library, so I couldn't hook it up to something like Spectre Digital ELE2, which is the drum sound that I use in all of my videos, as well as it means you can't hook it up to sync tempos with your looper via MIDI. So using these two in conjunction with one another, kind of a pain. Now, of course, they don't come as a pair, so they're not necessarily meant to be used together, but they were pitched to me as a combo, as in, do you want to make a video on these two pedals? And judging by the name, they are the first and second one in the FF line of guitar pedals by Flammer. It's a little strange that they would be so difficult to use alongside one another, but at the same time, I also don't want drums cranking through my actual guitar cab anyway. But it has absolutely no latency while direct recording into something like Reaper, which made recording the demo tracks for it extremely easy. It literally just plug it into one of the inputs of my interface, hit go, and it's done. Now, the left foot switch is labeled fill/tap, and that's because it can be used as a tap tempo feature, and if you just hit it once, it is going to play a drum fill until the downbeat of the next measure. Speaking of the downbeat, it has the same little LED strip as the looper, and that flashes red on the downbeat and blue on the others, so you always know where you're at in case you get a little lost. So, the verdict. Would I recommend these two pedals? Well, this one, 100%. For $88, you are getting a whole lot of looper here, and my sole complaint about it is the fact that it's not made with a metal enclosure, which I'm willing to look past because it's built just fine. The drummer would have to cost a solid $25 less for me to be able to confidently recommend it to you. That doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it's a little too expensive for the things that it can do compared to what other drum pedals for $10 or $20 extra can do. Between $80 and $90 is just a little too much for this thing's capabilities, on top of the fact that it is also made with an inexpensive enclosure. There is no USB out, you can't connect it to a computer, it doesn't have a headphone out like the looper does, it just kind of isn't that impressive. So, FF01 looper, confident recommendation, links in the description, not affiliate links unless they randomly supply me with one, but as of right now, I don't think it's an affiliate link at all. And this, well, if it goes on a Black Friday sale and suddenly costs $60, go for it, absolutely. As of right now, Still, link in the description if you're intrigued and you want one, but out of the two of these pedals, I know which one I like better. I will be using this on a regular basis. It might just go at the end of my signal chain on my pedal board permanently. I will likely never use this again. And hey, if you appreciate that level of honesty, I would appreciate a subscription to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to Flammer for making this video possible and allowing my utmost honesty, like a lot of brands do not, and like a lot of other YouTubers just don't do in the first place. And thank you, goodbye. I'll see you in the next video.